Well, hey everybody, it's been a long time. This is Ian Carlin welcoming you back to the Empty Cup podcast. I thought a little bit about this for a while about coming back, and I'm still not sure that I'm going to be coming back on any type of regular basis. However, I know that there are fans of the program out there, and I feel like I wanted to kind of let you guys know what's going on with me, where I've been, and also kind of what the future of the program might or might not be, and why I've been gone so long. Basically, I thought too about like if this didn't work out, I just cancel it and try it again. But quite honestly, um, this I'm just going to go for broke on this one right here. I'm not going to stop this and try to recut it and re-edit it and redo everything, redo do this all again. I just First of all, I just want to say thank you for those people who have reached out to me and who have asked about the program. I want you to know that it was with uh, there was kind of a couple things that went on when I stopped the program. And the last program I did was like a year ago, maybe might even be a little bit more than a year ago. Um, I finally got in touch with the people from my JKD roots, the people that I actually were students of the Sifu that my instructor actually learned from. And as I shared in the past program, that I did finally get a hold of one person, and then one person became a couple of people until finally I got to some of the real key players. One of which was Don Brock, which was the last episode I did over a year ago. I finally got to meet with him, and I also went down to California, where the old school was, and we got to work out, and that was just it was awesome to actually work out with those people, and they are some of the most top-notch martial artists that you'll ever have a chance to work with. And I kind of um, I told they were all very impressed with my capabilities. They were impressed with what I had learned from my teacher Troy, even though, as many of you know, it was sparse. Other than that last 6 months, but it was a sparse training time. Um, but they were all really impressed. And I kind of said, well, I wanted to be adopted back into that tribe, because that's the tribe I came from. But I have also added and grown and evolved. And of course, I didn't, just want to do exactly everything that they did. And so we're still kind of working on that. We're working on exactly where I fit into do that. And at all, um, I'm not at all like, how would I say this? Wanting to do anything quickly, wanting to do anything fast. It's nice to have the recognition from people who are certified, technically certified in JKD, and it's been awesome to meet them and it would be great to have that certification. But at the same time, I kind of like where I'm at. I kind of feel like the Wolverine of the JKD bunch. And that's a self-imposed title. I don't I don't expect anybody to say, yeah, he's Wolverine. But I say it because I kind of feel like I'm in a way I'm an outsider, but on the way I'm an insider as well. And that's kind of where Wolverine fit into the X-Man clan, and that is that he was, part of it. He worked with it, but he was also an outsider, kind of worked beyond it, and didn't necessarily have to follow um, everything that everybody in there did. And I like that freedom that I have. And so I'm not looking to move quickly as far as getting JKD certified. Um, I feel as though my skill level is up to par, and everybody said that as well. They said that I was a competent and skilled martial artist. However, uh, they they said that they still wanted me to go through some of the training and some of the things that was very important to Abel Sandoval. and what he taught and what he passed on to them, because I did kind of pretty much fight outside the box of um, of what they had learned, what JKD is and was from Abel Sandoval, the actual technical movement side. Now, they were all on board with that, but the actual technical movement side from the Abel Sandoval JKD system. Not that they're calling it the Abel Sandoval JKD system. That's kind of what I called it, because it is a little bit different. And maybe I might go into that here in a minute. Um, so I decided to move slow. So when I first met Don, I kind of felt like I wanted a little bit of a break. I was just like, oh, part of doing this whole thing was to kind of, connect with those roots of JKD that I learned, and just kind of see where things go. And that's been over a year, and I've gotten to work out with Donna a few times now, about 4 times, and I got to meet a couple other people from that JKD clan, and they're all planning on meeting again, which, God willing, I plan on going to down there. So that happened, and I kind of like took a deep breath, like a sigh of relief. I was just kind of, oh, okay, there's that. On the other end, I kind of dropped out of a lot of martial arts training myself, and just started focusing in on the few students that I had. So I stopped going to BJJ. Not that I hate BJJ or have anything against it, or was had any problems with that. It was just a matter of wanting to focus in on my students and focusing in on my strengths. And I still plan on going back. I still, one of my goals in life is to get a black belt. But it was a time, and you just go through the seasons of life. It was a time where I had like lots of free time. I had lots of open time. And so I was literally hitting the MMA gym, like four times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. And it was like all day classes too. I'd be like there from 4 o'clock on till 8:30 at night. And then I stopped there for a little bit, and I did some private BJJ lessons with the black belt. And I started going to a Krav school as well. And, I kind of just bounced out of that, and nothing really bad or anything, just wasn't really interested in pursuing that line. I just really kind of wanted to focus in on the few students that I had. And so I put in my time there, and then my time was kind of getting shortened and limited. And one thing that I finally did get is I did get my 3rd-degree black belt from a friend of mine. It's really just a recognition of skill. I didn't technically learn his katas or his forms or anything like that he has. He's a friend of mine who's an 8th-degree black belt, and it's really more of like a sports karate kind of style, which is good. I mean, it's based in Kyokushin, and he was a black belt in Kyokushin, and then another guy was a black belt in, I can't remember, another system, and they came together to kind of create this sports style karate kind of thing. And they were like winning lots of tournaments. The guy who gave it to me actually won 2 first place tournaments 2 years in a row at World Champions. He's phenomenal martial artist, a phenomenal sport karate, full contact and semi full contact fighter. And he just gave me like a certificate of recognition. Basically, he said, "Look, you're as good as any 3rd-degree black belt that we've met, that he's seen." So he kind of gave me that as an honorary degree, and I, that's awesome. I accept that as an honorary degree. I recognize the fact that I didn't technically like test for it, or I didn't technically. I wouldn't say it's an honorary degree. I'd say it's an equivalency degree. But he's worked with me a lot, and the guy's fast. I mean, the guy's fast. He's one of the people that I said for sure I'm going to have him on the program, and he's never been available to do it. His name's James Woodson, actually, and he's one of the guys that I promote. I promote his business because he does all the certificates for my school. He's done like my cards and things like that, and I just really appreciate all his work. So I promote him on the program. like if you're getting certificates, as many of you know, you've heard the opening to the program, you know that he's the guy that I promote, because he cares about martial arts. So he cares what your certificate's going to look like. So let's see what happened. I just stopped having the desire to do the show. And although I haven't stopped my desire to practice and study martial arts, I did stop my desire to continue all these classes. It was just draining me how much I was doing, and I was neglecting my home life. And, you know, you have to focus in on your home. You know, it's just me and my wife. Actually, her daughter and her daughter's husband also live with us, but I mean that's irrelevant. It's just, you know, it's why did I bring that up? Oh, I brought that up to say there's not any children or anything like that. You know, it's not like I was neglecting my kids, so I was able to spend a lot of time out. You know, 4 nights a week basically out, but it still wasn't good, and she was being neglected. And I thought, I need to get home and spend some time there. And again, I just wanted to put some time into my own training and getting back to my JKD roots. And that's one of the other things that I did was I just started training their system of JKD, some of the things that they think are fundamental. So I started training that and started training that with my students. And then, well, I don't want to let too much out. Some of you who know this already know it, but you know, you know what's going on. But my wife is sick now, and so that also started cutting into the time. And she didn't get sick until actually real recently. And when I was thinking about going back, I was thinking about, like, you know, starting the Empty Cup podcast up again. But she's sick right now, and I just don't have time right now to train as much as I did. And I certainly didn't have time to do this podcast the way that it deserves. I wanted to do this kind of like an epilogue. Now, I also want people to understand that I'm not finished with the show. You know, I'm not done saying everything that I want to say about martial arts. I'm not done interviewing the people who I want to interview and having the discussions that I want to have about martial arts, even though I repeat myself like crazy. You know, like from show to show, I can hear that I'm running through some of the same themes. But I still am not done. There are still subjects and people and things that I want to do. There's one, you know, I would love to. I never really did do a show on Filipino martial arts, and I'd really like to do a show on Filipino martial arts. I try to get Doug, forgot his name. He's on that that show where you cut a blade, and he actually responded to me quite a while ago. But then I tried to get back with him, and then he never responded. So I would still really like to do a show on Filipino martial arts. Also, I would love to do a show on Christianity and martial arts, and whether or not you can be a Christian and practice martial arts with integrity, you know, or at least to say those two things are compatible. Also, I would like to do more, you know, just more thoughts as they occur to me. And I mean, a lot of my martial talks were just that, you know, thoughts as they occur to me about different systems and stuff. I wanted to talk about, you know, a little bit more about boxing and a little bit more about the difference between, you know, whether or not you're going to focus in on center line, or you're going to focus in on distance management, and these two concepts, and are they conflicting with each other? And if you do JKD, you know, are you going to favor one over the other? And Wing Chun roots and leaving Wing Chun roots, and what part of Wing Chun you keep, what part of Wing Chun you don't, and even cutting some of the own BS in my own experience, you know, my own experience as far as fighting is concerned, and going, well, look, this really didn't serve me. I'm dropping this, I'm dropping that, I'm focusing in more on, you know, X, Y, and Z kind of a thing. So all that to say is I'm not really done with this program. I mean, I'm not done saying publicly the things that I want to say about martial arts. So you might see a few more of these come out. And there was, see, this is one of the things too that kind of discouraged me was I hadn't been doing any podcasts for, a good 6 months. And I put out on the Facebook page, I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. Can I get any, support? Does anybody want to say, yeah, let's do that? And no, well, one person responded. One person. I shouldn't say nobody, because at first it was nobody, but then one person responded. And I was just like, well, geez, I mean, if nobody says, hey, we want you back. And then I thought, well, I'm not necessarily doing this for X amount of people or anything like that. This is partly, at least for me, when you speak and when you think about issues and you talk about issues, you tend to work them out better in your own mind, and then you just see whoever wants to follow follows. I'm not like some type of mass marketer or something like that, and kind of thinking, okay, I get this many people, I say this right word, and that was kind of creeping into my mentality. I thought, well, no, just forget it. Just say what you want to say. Raise your flag and see who salutes it. But after I put that out, like a few months after I put that out, some people actually did respond. They didn't respond to that post, but they actually did either message me on Facebook or message me or email me, and they asked me, hey, are you done with martial arts? Are you done doing this? And I really had to think, I'm not done. I'm not, but I have slowed down, and I do have to think about what I want to say and what I want to do. I know this sounded probably a little rambly. I know that this probably, I don't know, wasn't the best and well thought through. And I know that as soon as I turn this off, I'm going to think about 4 other things that I want to say and should have said and didn't say. Knowing all that, I just wanted to do this just raw cut and just say, this is what's going on. And this is where I am. And this is why I haven't been doing anything in a while. And not sure exactly what I am going to be doing. But the other thing too that I wanted to say is I know that there were a lot more listeners than there are responders. And so I know that even though I put that thing out on Facebook and said, and only one person responded, I know there are probably a lot of people who listened to the program who wanted to hear me and just don't ever take the opportunity to say something. I mean, I know that I've done that before. There's an internet show that's been on forever, and I listened to that thing for like 5 years before I even called in the first time, maybe even like 7 years, because it used to be a radio show, and then it turned into an internet show, then it turned into a podcast. So I listened to it. I was listening to it before it was a podcast, and I never called in. I never responded. So I know that happens. I know that there are a lot of people who listen to this show, and they may not have ever responded, but they are thinking, hey, I wonder what's Ian doing, if he's going to be doing a podcast. So I do have some things I want to say. I'm not going to make any promises other than to say that I'm going to work on it, but it's going to go a little bit slowly. I'm getting back to some of my JKD roots, moving slowly in that direction to become certified for what it's worth. I still call what I do JKD, and my philosophy is I just don't lie about it. I just say, look, this is the training that I've had. This is what I've done. This is who I worked with. You don't like it? Oh, well, that's where I sit with it. Anyway, so I thank you all for listening to this, and until we meet again, keep your gloves up.